And he was one of the 2 Canadian representatives that signed this, which was saying that the products of publicly funded research should be available to every citizen. And that just seems like a natural. So right now, much of the research that comes out from the academic environment and so forth is very limited in its accessibility to people that are specifically within reasonably well-to-do universities that can afford the subscriptions to those publications, that can buy those books, and they can make them available to what is really a very small community out of all the people who could use this information. So the concept of giving the public access to the products of the research process, that doesn't sound like a wild idea to me. And open access publishing is the avenue whereby we can do this. And this is now an international movement. This event today, and it's good we had it scheduled when we did on the last day of Open Access Week, because as Donna suggested, this book was only available yesterday. So we handled all of that perfectly timed. That's the way we did it. But it was part of our contribution to an international activity where thousands of organizations worldwide focused on Open Access Week and to this new means of publishing. So we're extremely proud that the University of Calgary Press can now, with peer-reviewed publications, with publications that meet all of the standards of outstanding research and articulation, can be made available to everyone. And as of today, I was told that we already had 72 hits on this book, and it just came up. So the next time that I cross paths with some of you, I am sure it'll be 72,000, and then by this time next year, it'll be 720,000, and then by 3 years later, it can be 7 million. And this really happens. This is, and what happens in the process is that the community that created this book becomes a larger community that's linked via the internet and via their interests, their enthusiasms, so we can all draw on that larger world. In conclusion, I want to thank the 2 principal authors of this, Claudia Ims and Nancy Marlett, say how proud I am on behalf of the University of Calgary of the work that they produced. And thank you all for gathering here with us today to celebrate this.
We'll have one more speaker before the authors come up, and I'm very pleased that we're able to welcome Anne Martin-Matthews. She's the director of the Institute of Aging with the Canadian Institutes of Health Research. And CIHR, and certainly Anne's work, has really been instrumental in looking at aging studies across the country. So Anne, thank you.
Well, good afternoon. And I have to say, I will remember that comment about the microphone sucking the moisture. That's a keeper, so thank you so much. It's my genuine pleasure to be here this afternoon. I'm the scientific director of the Institute of Aging, which is one of 13 national institutes of the Canadian Institutes of Health Research. So most of my time is spent talking with researchers and helping to find the money and the resources to support research in aging and bring people into the field of research on aging. So being here with you is actually much more fun than most of the things that I do. The CIHR has 2 mandates. One is the creation of new knowledge according to internationally recognized standards of excellence, and that's we fund research. The second part of the mandate is the application of that knowledge to improve the health and quality of life and health services of Canadians. And for the Institute of Aging, then our interest is in older Canadians and older citizens in Canada. So seniors and advocates and policymakers, and not just researchers in universities, are a very important constituency for the Institute of Aging. And in that context, I'm delighted to be here and meet another group of researchers. Our institute has done consultations with seniors groups around the country, so we often ask seniors groups to help us frame the research questions. But you took this a step further. When we initiated the Pilot Projects program in aging back in 2001, we were looking to provide an opportunity to enable research that would be novel, innovative, might even be defined as risk-taking in some way. Give a small amount of money to pump prime, is the term we used, a research area. I congratulate you because you took our aspiration for the Pilot Grants program in aging, you took it a step further into a realm that we didn't anticipate when we threw the words novel and innovative out there. So you took that aspiration, turned it into a dream yourselves. And it is my genuine pleasure on behalf of the Canadian Institutes of Health Research and the Institute of Aging to say, in both official languages, congratulations, félicitations, and bravo for a wonderful piece of work. I know it took a long time to come, but good things are worth waiting for. And I'll really enjoy reading more about this, either on my laptop or the hard copy. But congratulations again, and a terrific job to all of you. And thank you for your interest in the work of the Institute of Aging as well. Thank you.
And now for the main event, the authors of this wonderful book. I was going to go into a description of their credentials, but I think it's enough to be able to read that on the back of the book, because these are women who are, like, I think all you really need to know about them is that they are passionate and unrelenting in their vision for engaging seniors in research that impacts them. These are women who are challenging the world around them and the way we think about aging. And I feel that they are very much representing the press, because truly, these are women seniors who are making a difference, making us think. So please, it's my great pleasure to welcome our authors today, Claudia Ames and Nancy Marlett.
I'd like to start by acknowledging someone who's very special. Every once in a while, somebody comes along in your life and they make a big difference. A big difference in the way you do things, a big difference in the way you see things, a big difference in the way you think. And in my case, that's my partner here.
What?
And friend, Nancy Marlett. What an influence she has had on not only me, but a whole community of scholars and researchers who work in the area of gerontology or with seniors, or however we best describe the people we work with. And how appropriate that we're in this room today for this celebration, because this is where it all started.
That's right.
Right here in this room.
That's right, right?
With a large group of people who were willing to trust us and willing to follow our directions as we were making seniors researchers. Nobody knows more about you than you. And we decided that we had to follow that theme, and we needed to engage all of the people that we could recruit from Kirby to become the researchers among their own. And quite frankly, we think it's a method that works. And we hope you'll learn more about it in reading our book. Thank you once again. Your turn.
It is really exciting. I was wondering how many people were aware that this is where it all began. And for me, it's quite an honor to be here. We really are at a watershed, and who would have thought an unlikely partnership of an academic press and a group of seniors would actually be part of changing our direction. You know, in the past, academics, we wrote for academics. And now we have a chance to reach out and to engage in whole new groups of people and to interact in ways that we had never thought possible. And you know, I think that one of the things that I heard yesterday, or the day before yesterday, was that whole idea of living documents. And that's what we've really taken the time to try and create, is something that will live and will change and will evolve with the people who read it and who interact online. And I think there's been a lot of discussion about what open access was. You know, we know it has to be free, it has to be easy, and that's there. But now that we've got that, what's the next step? Where are we going? And I think that's what really, I started using the phrase action publishing just to be funny, and it's starting to take on a life of its own. So I thought for today it was really incumbent that we have a chart that you could actually see and how it looks. And if you take a close look at open access, what I'd like us really to do is think about open as a verb, not as an adjective. Because I think what we're really doing is we're making it open. We're opening access to so many people. And right now, if you take a look at that first section that says open access, we're at the book stage. We haven't even started to work on the interactive websites, the social networking, and all of those things that is becoming part of how we as a society understand democracy, how we understand change, how we understand power. And it's really incumbent upon universities and seniors to get a hold of that and to make it work. So over the next 4 or 5 months, we're going to be working very hard with as many people as we can connect with to create a home base, a website, where people can come and they can network and they can learn from each other and do all sorts of wonderful things. The next step, of course, now if I was a publisher standing here, I'd call that marketing. But we're calling that engaging because I think what happens when you move into an action, apart from just sort of opening your doors, but action means engagement. And we have a number of really key partners that we're looking for. Of course, we're looking for seniors. They're the heart of this. But I think our project was really successful because of the retired researchers that got involved. And so we want to really reach out to those, along with the academics and the teachers and the students and everybody else who wants to come on board. The third piece is the acting and interacting. And I think that's the difference. I mean, if you take a look at most publishing does all 3 of the sections on here except for acting and interacting. And I guess for us, that's really what our project brought to this. It brought a way of people actually learning together about research, conducting research, and sharing their research. And that was a very major step forward in terms of understanding how to turn action research now into an action publishing process, because we want to take those skills that are captured in this book out to new groups of people. And then, of course, the last piece, and it was the one that took us the longest. I think we took 2 or 3 times longer to evaluate what had happened than it did to actually do it. There was so much depth in it. We kept going deeper and deeper into what really had happened and why it had happened. And so I know one of the first grants that Donna went after was the evaluation piece, and that's really essential to what we are doing next, because we will be watched. We will be watched by not just people who are interested in seniors, not just people who are interested in health. We'll be watched by the academy, and to see if this really does open whole new avenues for research and for knowledge.